Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview, and we are currently live in all our streaming platforms. That's YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. My name is Rob, and I am your host for today. And together with me right now is one of Reader's Magnet's featured authors who is a human systems integration engineer, science and technology manager, U.S. Army DevCom, diversity, equity, and inclusion advisory council member, health and wellness council member, basketball coach, trainer slash guru, and is here today to talk about his book, Take Off Your Parent Colored Glasses. Please help me welcome Dr. Irwin Hudson. Hi, Dr. Irwin. How are you doing today?
Doing great, man. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, too. I'm really excited. And there is going to be a plethora of questions that I have for you, and I really want to know more about this book. So, first and foremost, for people and all our viewers, is it possible for you to show us a copy of your book so at least people can see what book are we talking about today?
Yes.
Okay, that is Take Off Your Parent Colored Glasses, which is available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. For people who like to grab a copy and to know more about Dr. Irwin Hudson, feel free to check those out, and we'll be putting the links on the description below. So, Dr. Hudson, as a sports fan here in this, I have a quick question though. Let me ask you, what is your why?
Wow, that's a good question. My why, honestly, is my family. My family is the reason that I do what I do. You know, everything I do is for my family, my beautiful wife, my wonderful kids. Everything I do is for them. But I guess the reason that I was put on this earth, honestly, is to, to educate, motivate, and inspire, all athletes to become the best versions of themselves. I mean, I've done this for over 30 years as a coach, trainer, counselor, and a player, for all ages, all players, all races, all genders, all skill levels, and even beginners to the NBA. So that's my why. And I wanted to make sure I tell you who I am. Honestly, I know the title was a lot of big terms, but
Okay.
for real, who I am is, I'm Irwin Hudson. I was born and raised in Starkville, Mississippi. I live in sunny Orlando, Florida. That's my home. I've been here for over 33 years. I have a bachelor's degree in computer engineering. I have a master's and a doctorate in modeling and simulation, and from the College of Engineering out at UCF, University of Central Florida. And I received those not too long ago. But who I am is I'm a engineer. I'm a CEO. I'm a basketball coach. I'm an elite basketball trainer, and now an author. And last but certainly not least, I'm a friend, I'm a husband, and I'm a parent.
Well, I gotta tell you though, the most if saying everything that I've heard right now and everything that I discussed and telling us who you are as well as makes you more human than anyone can really perceive though. But with all these credentials, everything you do, you are always a family man, and I can really feel that whenever you said that. So, Dr. Hudson, I just want to ask you though, because you tell me that you're an author right now. But how did you get started training or coaching or counseling kids in in the field of basketball?
Well, how I got started was it all started with an injury. I was hampered by serious injuries during my high school basketball career. I played all four sports in high school: baseball, basketball, football, and ran track. And it was just too much stress on my legs. So after that life-changing diagnosis, it pretty much ended my career. So what I did was I decided to use my brain and get out of Mississippi. And I did that by, majoring in computer engineering and, graduating in 1991 from Mississippi State University. After graduating, I started working for a few companies in engineering. I was working for some major companies like IBM, another company called Science Applications International Corporation, and I moved to DC. So I was in DC for a while, and finally I got lucky enough to move to Orlando, Florida. And after moving to Orlando, I was able to find my way back to basketball. I connected with the Orlando Magic. They had just recently got their expansion team. New players like Shaquille O'Neal were coming in. It was perfect timing for me to really get back into basketball. So I connected with the Magic and got to do some of their basketball camps. And I was a counselor and stuff like that. So even while working my real jobs, I was still working as an engineer. I never stopped doing that. And I was working for the Department of Defense as a contractor. So this kind of kickstarted my whole, basketball training career. After a few months of being in Orlando, I ended up moving my little brother down to live with me, and he's a big part of the book also, from taking off your parent colored glasses. But so Lex came down to live with me, and I started training him, and I would train him everywhere. I would sneak into YMCA's, be out in the park, and after a while, crowds of people start showing up and watching us train, just one-on-one basketball training, and they had never seen anything like that before, because no one was really training or doing that type of thing. There was coaches teaching basketball classes and clinics, but there was no individual trainers. And I was that guy out in the park, in the hot sun, training him. After a while, they finally, got the courage to come up and ask me who I was and what I was doing. And they ended up, people started requesting me to actually train their kids also, to join my little brother in the park. So why not? I was already training him. So I ended up, getting paid to train my little brother, pretty much. And that's how Orlando actually got started. And I've been training ever since. This started in 93 when I first moved here, when I first moved him down.
Okay.
And then in 95, I started really formally training and giving out business cards. And I actually incorporated in 1999. So that's how and I've been training ever since.
Hey, 1999 though, that is a long time. It's been like 25 years, just to be exact here. And hey, Dr. Hudson, you told us that you told us you've been started training kids, and then parents started paying you. But can you at least give us a short description of what maybe like the 5 problematic parents that you've had to deal with during your coaching career? Because again, 25 years is a long line of coaching though. But I do believe there are some really main problems that you have dealt with. So what was at least 5 though? 5 problematic parents that you really had to deal with, and how did you deal with them?
Yeah, and the 5 are in the book, and yes, I've dealt with all types of parents, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's just say the problematic parents range from the bad to the ugly.
Okay.
The most prevalent one probably is the delusional parent. I call them the DPs. They're all delusional. And the thing is, they aren't the worst parent, but they're the most common, because everywhere you go, and it's all parents, we all have that delusion about our children. And they either believe that their kid's going to go Division I or play NBA, when they're in the first grade. So that's the kind of delusion that they have. And of course, they feel like their child is, the best on the team always. And then they also believe that their child is, like, not only the best, but now their child needs to get more playing time. Their child needs to, to shoot the ball more. Their child needs to score more points. Everything around, their child is delusional. So that's the number one. Then I'd say number 2 probably is the entitled parents. Now, the entitled parent, they're next level, because they feel like, hey, they've done so much for the program, or they've donated money, or they're big time athletes themselves, and they're entitled to have their kid play and do a lot. And that's just not the case. Sometimes they have, like, they're friends of the principal, or they're friends of the supervisor or stuff, and they think that since they know someone, they get to get special favors, and that's not work. That doesn't work. So the next one would be probably the victim parent. The victim parent is the one who thinks that, hey, everybody's out to get my kid. The coach doesn't like my child, and they play the victim the whole time, and they don't think their kid will ever get a fair shake. So that becomes a real problem. The next one would probably be the vindictive parent. They're the ones who, make it their mission to try and destroy a program. They, totally decide, hey, we're gonna, I'm gonna do something to get the coach fired. They're vindictive for some strange reason. And last but certainly not least is the TCPs. I call them the TCPs, which are the toxic/cancerous parent. They're the ones who, their mission in the world is just to cause problems and cause cancer inside the program. And all of a sudden, the program implodes because of all the poison and toxicity that they provide, to the other parents. And usually no one really knows that they're the ones who did it. So those are the ones.
And again, so out of these 5 parents though, how did you deal with them? Because if you're going to be asking me though, I'm going to be losing my hair. I'm thinking about how can I deal with these parents. But how did you do it though?
I mean, just pretty much I have to just focus. Excuse me, things falling here. I have to focus on, the positives. there's some good parents out there. I mean, they're not just all bad parents. They're kind parents. There's understanding parents. There's caring parents. There's loving
Mhm.
parents, and they're motivating parents. Those parents actually are the ones that, you know, if they're there, they kind of balance out everything, and that's what I actually have to focus my attention on and focus on those parents.
Mhm. Oh,
So that's
okay.
that's how I do it.
Well, hey, and I believe though that these parents that deal with, especially within your book, though, puts in more detail on how these things transpired, how did you deal with them, and how did you at least cope up whenever these problematic parents were joining the coaching session. Is that correct?
Yes. No, I
Awesome.
mean, a lot of patience, a lot of patience.
Okay. So, oh, but Dr. Hudson, I'm just kind of curious though, because I'm seeing here though, Dr. Coach Irwin Hudson. How did you get the name Dr. Coach, by the way?
Okay, like I said, I got my doctorate degree in 2016 from
Mm-hmm.
University of Central Florida, and you know, I was already coaching for a long time, probably almost 25 years before that, and it kind of seemed natural. It was it had a good ring to it. Some people think it's kind of crazy. Some people, Doctor Coach, what does that mean? And it's simply that. I'm a doctor, I have my
Mm-hmm.
PhD, and I'm also a coach. So it really designates who I am and what I've been for the last, you 30 years of my life.
Well, it makes sense out. So, I'll just hey, just make it much more comfortable here. And I already love to call, so I'm just gonna call you Doctor Coach. So, Doctor Coach, just one question though that I have here, especially here at Readers Magnet, and also for people who love to read. What made you decide, or how did you decide to become an author? Like when or how did it happen? Like you
Mhm.
just like one day, hey, I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna publish this, I'm gonna be an author. Like when did that happen?
Wow. That's a very good question. I'm trying to figure that out. I've been thinking to myself, I've wanted to be an author probably all my life. I mean, even as a little kid, I mean, not that I'm an avid reader or anything, but I was always someone who wanted to be on the side of telling a story. And
Mm,
I honestly want to leave a legacy. I want to be able to leave something that people can see long after I'm gone. And that, I guess, motivated me the most. You know, I always got A's in my English or literature courses, history and things like that. So that kind of fueled me to say I could do it. But then I think what really got me is like I'm always able to find other people's mistakes. Like in reading and seeing and when I'm reading magazine articles or if something comes on the screen, the teleprompter, I'm always seeing the mistakes. It's like as if they jump out at me, and I was like,
mm,
maybe there's something there. And I fixed a lot of people's stuff. I edited a lot of documents throughout my years of engineering. So it was
mhm.
like I feel I can write a book, and I just jumped in and said I'm going to do it. I started out and I ended up testing the waters a little bit. I wrote a children's book. It's back there behind
Okay.
me. It's called Take Off. No, Levi. That's Levi the Lovable Labradoodle. I wrote that
Oh.
just to see if I could write a book, and I did it. It was kind of a success. People liked it. It was about one of my good friends' dog that they have, and it talks about all the things that he loves and likes. And it was kind of a way to first for my kids to say, "Hey, their dad wrote a book." And now, this taking off your parent colored glasses was something that has been a mission of my life, and I knew that I wanted to make sure I tell that story.
Oh, you know what? I totally agree with you here, Doctor Coach, because there are some people though, like let's say that people who are really hesitant to write their own book, and
Yep.
they just don't seem to have that confidence though. But I really love it that you see it with, and you like when the time comes though that you want to leave a legacy. Like there is something physical that people can read, people can
Yes.
follow, and
Exactly.
that's leaving that legacy. And I
Yep.
really salute you with that though. Gotta give that to you, Doctor Coach.
And that's what it was. I wanted to leave a legacy, and
Mhm.
like I said, most of the book is a heartfelt memoir. It's my life
Mhm.
story. It it unveils the impact that parents have on competition sports, and then
Mm.
the other part, it's a helpful guide for players, parents, coaches,
Mhm.
to help them navigate through this world of competition sports.
Oh, okay. So, going back with the book, Doctor Coach, because again, we talked about problematic parents, talked about you becoming an author, talking about what is the book about, talking about what the purpose of your book is. But is there any advice, like what is your advice of parents trying to navigate their way through treacherous waters or competitive sports, like putting their kid within competitive sports. Is there any advice you can provide to them?
Man, advice. I mean, I wish someone had gave me a lot of advice, because I mean, I lived this as a parent and as a coach. But I guess after all the years of doing this stuff, I would say, parents, first and foremost, be a fan of your child, but be reasonable. You know, understand that your job, or your purpose is not to coach your kid, but to raise your kid as a parent. You need to find a coach, and let that coach be the coach. Trust them. If you don't like that coach, find another coach, but trust your coach. And then don't be delusional.
Okay.
Don't be don't act entitled. These are all the bad things. Don't be a victim. Don't be vindictive, and please don't be toxic and cancerous. That's one thing you can't do. And if you can, do your best to be kind, understanding, caring, loving, and motivating. That's the way. That's what I hope they get out of this book, is that if you do those things, I'm telling you, that's the recipe for success.
That alley was really awesome, though. You hit the backboard with that answer here, Dr. Coach. Gotta give that to you. So, Dr. Coach, is it safe for us to assume that your primary audience for your book are really parents who are really into giving their kids a chance joining sports, being someone who can they be as being an athlete, though? Is this correct, though, or is there a different primary audience you have
Okay.
for your book as well?
Well, my primary audience, honestly, you hit it. It's parents, coaches, and players, but
Awesome.
especially parents. Parents, or anyone who's planning on having a family. But yes, I really want the parents to buy this book, and I want them to read it thoroughly. I want them to digest all the meanings that I put in the book. I mean, I put a lot of different definitions, a lot of quotes, understand all the concepts, and then go out and spread the gospel. I mean, I'm not saying that this is the Bible, but I really want them to understand that this is real life. I've been back and forth with all the concepts in it. I've been back and forth with all the, different things, not just my life. This is the true story of my life, but it also is a true story of how people, acted, and other people, and how not to act. So please, I would love for them to go spread the gospel in this book. And it's for parents mainly.
Awesome. Really love that. So, Dr. Coach, as I'm trying to check right here, though, because again, with the book you have, and also the people who you want to reach with your book, and also for your primary audience. And I do know that this book was just published last February, and it's still fresh. And there are a lot of people who are purchasing your book, placing in good reviews. And I got to get to you, though, a 5-star review on Amazon as well, so people can check that out. But before we end this interview, though, as much as I'd like to, I just want to ask you, though, is there any message that you can leave to some of our readers, like future or avid readers that you have currently right now, or even the parents who are a bit hesitant to get this book, or they don't even know if ever they are those type of parents? What is one thing that you want to impart or leave them with before we end this?
Yeah. Well, first thing, if you don't know you're one of these parents, more than likely you probably are one of these parents. And the thing is, this is no slight on parents, because every parent, I say it in the book, it doesn't matter whether you're a teacher, coach, you're a preacher, or you're a saint. Once you have a child, it's inevitable that you develop parent-colored glasses. They really are. It's amazing how it just happens. And I didn't get a chance to really define it, but parent-colored glasses, what they do is they allow you to see whatever you want to see with your kids. Similar to the term rose-colored glasses, and everybody knows that term, and nobody really hears the term parent-colored. But they feel either a parent with optimism, or they feel a parent with pessimism. Some will feel with both of those. And so the optimism part, they feel with it makes a parent feel like, hey, my child is so great and how wonderful he is. And that's a good thing. It's it's really good. But the problem is, as long as the coach doesn't mess it up, that's how they feel. And so the pessimism is targeted at the coach's flaws and the coach's perceived inability to help their child, succeed. So I really wanted to make sure, parents see that you're probably going to be one of those parents. And, again, the purpose, going back to the purpose of this whole book, it was to educate, motivate, and inspire parents of all races to, to rise above all the pitfalls. There's a lot of pitfalls coming at you every day. So I really want them to kind of see parent color glasses for what they are, realize that, hey, we all have them. And there's going to be times when you need to kind of defog those glasses to make sure you're seeing things that the way the coaches sees it, the way everyone else sees it. I'm hoping that everyone takes this book, they read it, they read my memoir, and they kind of learn from my memoir. Then I'm hoping that, I want them to feel the passion and the pain in some of the areas, of my upbringing, because, it wasn't all rose colored. It was, it was a rough time. I grew up poor in Mississippi. So I want them to see that. And I hope that they can relate and kind of see themselves in some of what I've done and how I reacted. And I didn't always react great. I've had parent color glasses before, and you'll see the story about it. And that's how I discovered about it. I'm hoping they use the helpful guide, though, to use that guide and make wise decisions. Make decisions pertaining to how they can handle their child's coach and how the other players on the team. Again, I'm truly hoping that this book changes lives for the better. That's what I hope.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm currently speechless. But yeah. Hey, it's really different though. But Dr. Coach, I do believe you have your aspirations. So I do know that you are hoping that people would feel this way, and how you're trying to convey your message to them, and how you're talking to them right now through your screens. I can tell you though that your book has so much more to say as well, and that hope might be a reality in the future. Okay, so you know what? So, Dr. Coach, so everyone, to all our viewers, though, who'd like to grab a copy of Dr. Coach's book, Take Off Your Parent Color Glasses, it is available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and also you can follow his website. That's www.ohoops.com if ever you want to check his program. And also, for people who want to follow Dr. Coach through Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, we have here placed in there his ad. That's at The Real DR Coach. So you can always follow him. And hey, if ever you want to get in touch with him and who knows, get some inquiries, feel free to send him a DM. Okay, so Dr. Coach, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I got to tell you, though, your book and who you are as a person is really something that we can really look forward to. It's not every day that people like you come on stage and at least talk about these issues, talk about parents, talk about kids, talk about real life, and being as real as you can be. I can call you the real OG, man. That's one thing I could tell you, Dr. Coach.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I get called that a little bit, OG in this name. So now this has been wonderful. I really appreciate Reader's Magnet. I was skeptical at first, but you guys are really showing me that, hey, this is a way to market my book, and I really want to get this out to the masses. Thank you very much for your time and your energy. Appreciate it.
Hey, no worries, Dr. Coach. Hey, Dr. Coach, in the future, though, if ever we'll have another interview, I'd really love to talk more about you, okay? So, Dr. Coach, so everyone and all our viewers, though, again, thank you so much for your time. And again, as we say here at Reader's Magnet, we share your stories with the world. Keep toasting. Have a good one.
Thank you.